Hi guys, what's up? It is Gina Efoy, the one and only African superstar. It's me again. Wow, my last live stream has really gone out there quite a bit, and I want to thank a lot of you for leaving your comments and engaging with the video on the replay, sharing it with your friends. The topic was a lot of people want us to fail in Africa, and this actually was in the comments. Okay, the title of this live stream. So before I get into it, big shout out to the African Superstar family. If you are in the building, please be on code. On code is coming in. Like the stream, greet me in the chat. Feel free to also support our platform as it has recently been remonetized. And in current events, we have an upcoming tour. You can come and visit me live in person in Accra, Ghana, and that is happening October 21st to the 27th. I will be doing a collaborative tour with fellow world traveler Taye Uhuru. He's been to over 70 countries. He's been to multiple countries across the continent. Very knowledgeable brother. So we are hosting our upcoming tour. If you want more information about that, please head over to www.tayeahuru.com. It's right on the homepage, and you will see our full itinerary. We'll be taking you to Kumasi and Cape Coast. A lot of fun additives on that tour, so don't miss it. And last but not least, you can actually find my entire musical catalog on bandcamp.com. If you want to support me, purchase my music, listen to my music, you can also find my music on all the streaming platforms. Big shout outs to you guys. What's up, Portia Official? She's the first in the chat room on code. Shout outs to my moderators, anybody with a wrench. I want to talk about this topic because actually it was a negative comment, so it has actually been removed from the video. But I wanted to actually highlight this. So someone came in my previous live stream, like I said, the video is quite popular, in which I talked about how a lot of people do not want diasporans to win in Africa, which is why they're so negative and so critical about our efforts over there. And then you also have the people that, for one reason or another, their plans in Africa did not work out. And so therefore they are quite negative about what has happened to them in Africa and various things like that. Big shout out, Nikki. I see you there, Passport Traveler. Good morning. Thank you guys for stopping by. It's the one and only African superstar, and I'm in the building. So one of the comments on that previous video was talking about basically the quality of the diasporans that are venturing onto the continent, that most Black Americans are broke, they're coming without skills, they're coming without money, they're not world travelers, they're ignorant, and all of that. And so this person was, like I said, quite negative in the comment. And what I want to say is, in some ways, that person is correct. For one reason or another, many diasporans that are coming to Africa, they don't have a lot of resources. They have not been world travelers. They are quite ignorant about many things. They have not run their own business, and so on and so forth. However, that's actually a motivator for them to go to Africa. Do you know why? Because they could actually turn the tables on their potential future. Okay, because if you are in a situation, for instance, let's say you have $5,000. First trivia question, guys. Big shout outs to everybody. I see y'all on code today, and I appreciate you being in the chat room. Last live stream we had, dozens of people in, and they were not interactive. So I appreciate you guys for being there. What's up, Kwesi Etisen? So let's say you have $5,000. Can $5,000 buy you land in England, Canada, Australia, or America? Yes or no? First trivia question. If you have $5,000, will that buy you land in Canada, America, Australia, America, or England, or Europe? Okay. First trivia question. Let's see if you guys can figure out the answer. Big shout outs, guys. If you're here in the building, please make sure you like the stream. I'm trying to get the lighting because it's just so sunny in here. Good grief. I know. I can't complain about sun. Shout out to Passport Traveler, the first answer. No. But $5,000 can actually buy you land currently in Africa. What I'm saying is, for Black Americans that have limited resources, Africa should definitely be on your horizon, because you can have an opportunity to do things in Africa that you will never be able to do in America. Okay? The reality is that most diasporians will never be able to probably buy or own land in the West. That's a fact. Land in America is in sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars in some cases. You also have to worry about property taxes on your land, maintenance, and all that stuff if you have it in the West, okay? Because the system is actually designed for you not to be able to retain those assets for long, because they want a select group of people to handle, land ownership, property ownership, development, and all of that. It's a very small, there's a very small power players that's in control of that. Now, in the reality, if you have limited resources as a diaspora and you want to change that dynamic, you realize, man, I'm in the middle of this system in America or the UK. I'm going to work my entire life away and have nothing to show for it. Those of you guys that are in mortgage, I challenge you to go look up the meaning of mortgage. Mortgage is a French word. It means until death. It means basically like a commitment until death. Okay. Mort in French means mortality, life. Okay. Gage is a commitment or a promise or like a contract. The reality is that a lot of times the debt that you can acquire in these Western nations becomes an anchor to you. And you can't move freely when you want to. You can't pump the brakes on it when you want to, because you're all wrapped up and strapped up in debt and, contracts and mortgages and credit cards and student loans and all of that stuff. Black Americans or Western Blacks as a whole, wherever you find yourself in the West with limited resources, should definitely, if you're smart, have your eyes set on the continent, because you can actually change your class. I was talking to, I was at the doctor's office the other day. I think I told you guys I was there. And I was talking to some people, in the lobby as we waited. And I was talking to this young white guy. We were having this conversation and we were talking about, some of the things that's going on in the country and how basically the government just wants us all to be slaves and doesn't want us to have control of our finances and doesn't want us to retire, which I agreed in all the things that he said. And I was asking him about assets because, like I've been mentioning on this, recently on my media, I've been trying to do research about assets and liabilities and cash flow and all these different things, dividends. And so I asked him, I said, okay, if you were in a position to do, I gave him about 5 options of different investments. He said the number one thing that he would go for is land, because there's a limited amount of land in the world, okay? And the demand of land is never going to go down. The demand of land is only going to go up. And so if you can manage and struggle and get land wherever that may be, it's a very, very, very powerful asset. And I thought about it. In the West, the vast majority of us are in no position to acquire land. Some of you guys, you have mortgages. You don't technically own that land. You don't actually technically own your house either until you finish paying the bank that mortgage. The bank actually owns your property. The bank actually owns your house until you pay the deed amount. All right. But in America, and probably the same in UK and Canada, I don't know all the laws in all these different nations, but forfeiting your property taxes negates the whole thing. So if you've purchased a home and you've paid $500,000 for the home on that land, you don't own that land. If you default on the property taxes, they can take it all back as if you put not a red cent into the property. These are very important factors of why the motherland has a lot of promise and opportunity for our people, because it's possible to purchase land. It's possible to start the farm. It's possible to start the business. It's possible to rematriculate into a different lifestyle and a different place. Okay, it is effectively affordable for us at our own level to do this in Africa. Now, I asked my original trivia question was, if you have $5,000, can you buy land in England, Canada, Australia, or America? The obvious answer is no. Now, during COVID time, for instance, the government was giving out stimulus checks. Okay? For some of you, that was your first opportunity to go to Africa. You got those stimulus checks, you were getting maybe unemployment. It gave you an opportunity to have that lump sum to visit Africa. Okay? Some of you guys get tax refunds every year. That might be a few $1,000s. In America, that money's going to go like water. In Africa, it can be an investment. Now, secondarily to this point, that person stated, a lot of the Black Americans coming to Africa don't have money, they don't have skills, they're ignorant, blah, 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 blah. You can't also count the pennies of somebody else. The truth is, everybody's not in the situation that you might be in. And there is this connotation of, what can Black Americans do in Africa because of the massive nature of all the problems that are facing us, But all I have to say to that is that it always starts somewhere. You always have to start somewhere. All these massive companies that we know, from Amazon to Walmart to JCPenney's to Verizon, or, they all started with one individual usually, or maybe a couple people that went into business together or had an idea. Do not be discouraged because you feel that your means are small. Like I said, $5,000, a lot of us could generate that in a calendar year. If you're living in UK, you're living in America. Okay. Some of you guys have that in your savings right now. I currently do land deals with Sister Ya in Ghana. One plot is less than $3,000 currently. Now the price has gone up the past 2 years because the demand is going up and we're selling, different plots in that area. But the fact of the matter is, $2,000-$3,000. Yeah. To be a landowner, some of you guys are waiting on reparations. Hello? You're going to be waiting on them for the rest of your life, or you can take something, tangible. You can maybe stop going out to eat for a month, or stop going to the nail shop for the month, or, you can stop wasting money on Netflix or, that cup of coffee at Starbucks for a couple months and save up some money and do some investments in Ghana. Now, hello, disclaimer. I'm going to say that thanks so much, Black Messiah, for the first super chat. Thank you so much. You can, buckle down to change your class and actually compound on something in Africa, guys. You can actually build a structure that you own. My girlfriend, Sister Ya, probably about a month or two ago, she made a post and said she's sitting on the land that she owns in Ghana, in her house that she built from the ground up, that has no mortgage, eating, food fresh from the farm, and relaxing and chilling. How many of us can ever dream to say something similar in our Western environment? How many of us could ever even reach that and still be able, she's in her early 50s, being able to confess it. And it's 100% true. I've actually been to the house several times. I've been there and things like that. So it's verified. If you're broke as a Black American, as a Black British, if you're smart, Africa is not the place you need to run from. It's the place you need to run to. There's a lot of opportunity over there that you can actually enter into the market with minimal capital and become a power player. You know, and if you start now, you can actually build up perhaps retirement. I remember when I was in Kenya, big shout outs to the African superstar family. I'm about to start shout outs in just a moment. So if you want to be greeted, please leave your comments in the chat room. I remember one time when I was on business in Nairobi. Oh, I hope you guys can hear me just fine. Can you guys hear me? Damn, sorry. I remember when I was in Nairobi, I had been connected to, one of my friends had let me know that one of their friends was living in Nairobi. And this guy, he works for the UN. He's like a big deal. And he had actually been living in Kenya, going back and forth to Ghana. I believe he was an ambassador. So I told my friend, at the time I was still basing in the UK. So I had told my friend, oh yeah, I'm going to Nairobi for business, blah, blah, blah. He said, oh, you got to look up my friend when you get there and tell him I sent you. You know, and I said, okay. So he took me to this really nice hotel. It's actually the former hotel that Gaddafi owned in Nairobi. I think it's called the Regent, or I believe it's called the Regent. And so we went there and we were talking, and I was talking to him about, you know, how many Western Blacks are really not taking advantage of what they could potentially be taking advantage of in Africa. And he told me that he had gradually set up a taxi company in his area. And so, you know, every year he would strive to send about like 2 cars. He would get these cars from, I believe, Asia, maybe Japan or so, and send them to Ghana. And he had a whole system of how he operated his taxi business. And, you know, he was just telling me about those things. And I thought to myself, you see, that is a retirement package that's feasible. You know, it's the gradual building up of resources so that you can actually retire one day. Because if you're in the West, the prospects of retiring is slim to none. Trust me. And that's how the government wants it. Okay. Here in America, they recently extended retirement to age 70 years. The last I was in UK, the last that I was aware, it was 67. Some of us are not going to live to that age, which means we're never going to retire, which means the way you're grinding right now as a 30-something, 40-something, 50-something, that's for the duration, because you're not able to retire, not able to afford life in those countries with the income that you would get from your Social Security or your retirement or your pension or whatever. Or if you're a part of my generation, a lot of companies don't even offer pension. They offer 401ks, which means you still need to be making contributions. All right. If you're broke, then Africa should be on your horizon, because it's really probably one of the only viable ways that you're going to be able to escalate out of your class. Seriously. You know, I was thinking about it. I'm actually working to save up money to get my own lands in Ghana. You know, I don't currently own land in Ghana, but I thought to myself, once I achieve that goal, I'm going to be the first person in my family to be a legit landowner, because all my other family is, you know, doing apartments. They're doing mortgages. You know, they don't really have those kind of assets, unfortunately. And when you look at, again, the richest people in the world, the most established people in the world, even these celebrities, when people go from normal status to celebrity status, what is the first thing they start investing in? Property, you know, is one of those assets that you really can't go wrong in. And that is why it's restricted to the masses, really, in the West, to be able to access them. So you can actually go to Africa with a little bit in some cases. Maybe you ship a container over there, you know, set up like a little shop. I know a friend of mine, a Ghanaian friend, she did that. I'm not sure if she still does that, because she moved out of Ohio and I haven't been keeping up with her. But I know when we lived in Ohio together, she would go on the weekends to the secondhand shops and look for decent clothes, good clothes, sometimes new clothes with the tags. She would fill up these containers, and then she would go back to Ghana and set up little, secondhand shops, because people in Africa, or at least let me just speak more specifically about Ghana, they love things that come from the West. They love Western brands. They may not be able to get them directly from their shops in Ghana. So when you come as the foreigner and you set up this boutique, or you set up this shop, or you set up the shoe shop, or whatever, to them, that's imported goods. That's foreign, and they love it. There's a lot of opportunities. You may need to be creative. You got to do market research. But if you don't have a lot of means, Africa is a really, really important option for you if you want to change things. Okay, if you want to change things, you shouldn't be deterred by the fact that you're not coming with millions or 100,000s or whatever. If you're wise with your small investment, potentially, that thing can catapult you out of the condition that you're in. Not to mention the other positive aspects of being in Africa overall. Now I do realize that some people are purely coming to Africa because they're motivated. Okay. Unfortunately, a lot of Westerners are coming on the pretense of relationships. And for that, I always say you got to do your background. But I would also say, because I saw a comment on my previous video saying that there's some YouTuber out there that apparently she's been living and dating someone in Africa for 6 years. And she told this person she's not going to do the visa for them. And they ended up breaking up. And this person is now going to return to the US. And so obviously at that point, very bitterly having comments about, oh, they don't like us in Africa, and I'm going back to America. Let's hone in on that for a minute. Okay, the truth is you came to Africa for a relationship. Okay, you didn't come to Ghana because you like it. You didn't come because you wanted proximity to the beaches, or you like the food, or you're into the culture, or you want to raise your children there. You came solely for that pretense. Now that situation has not worked out. You have no love for the environment. I would say to move to a country off the strength of a relationship is very, very risky. You are then in a 50-50, thing. Let's say you didn't break up, but let's say he dies. Then what? You should at least have an interest in the place you're going, so that if things fall through, you haven't just put it all on the line. That's a lot of pressure to put on a budding new relationship. You know what I mean? If you're smart, you're going to pick a place that you like to be, a place that you love to be, a place that you will have longevity, irrespective of your relationship status, so that if things don't work out, you don't. And let's also be real. If you move to Africa based on a relationship, don't slander the country if things don't work out. Huh? Because a lot of you have been with people in your Western environments. And I don't see you coming out here with the British men are this, and American men are this, and white men are this, and Latino men are that. But naturally, our people have so much smoke for their own reflection, for their own image. Okay, be accountable. If you're going out there on a limb because you want a relationship or a specific individual, then go ahead and own that. All right, go ahead and say it. I was tricking. You know what I'm saying? I went over there to Ghana. I went over there to Senegal. I went to Nigeria. I got turned out. The guy turned me out. Now I'm giving money. Now I'm moving to Africa. Now I'm all about him. Now I'm doing visas. Just keep it real. Because the age-old saying is, it ain't tricking if you got it. If you have certain resources that's going to help you achieve your bottom line and you don't mind, then go for it. But let's not slander the country when that situation doesn't work out. Because you haven't surveyed all Nigerian men. And you haven't surveyed all Senegalese and Ghanaians. You was with one or two, whatever. You're the one who chose to proceed despite all the red flags. You're the one who didn't want to define things. You've been kicking it with a guy for 6 years, for instance, and the issue of immigration or whatever never came up. I really find that difficult to believe. You know, did you think he was going to change? Did you think she was going to change? Did you think, did you want it to be Bonnie and Clyde where you guys ride out into the sunset and you don't want to listen to anybody's warnings? Just the other day, it's been a few weeks now. I'm in this, Facebook group, and there was a woman expressing how she has pretty much, I think, like a 20-year age gap with this Ghanaian that she's married. Okay. And people in the chat, in the group were telling her, it seems a little strange. It seems a little suspect. Are you sure? Have you met his family? And this person was just rebutting and saying, I don't care what his family says. I'm going to take my chances. So a lot of our people, if we're honest, are defiant when it comes to the reality. When you go to Africa, people are still people, and people will 100% take advantage of you if you let them do it. If you set the stage, they're going to do it. And that's people anywhere in the world. Your goal is to safeguard yourself from some of these very common, very obvious scams. Okay, taking things at face value, taking people as they are. If you get a gut feeling, like I mentioned, my gut feeling has actually never been wrong, ever. Okay, there have been times I didn't listen to it. There's been times that I decided, I'm going to do, okay, or I've doubted the message. But that gut feeling, every time I've had that gut feeling was accurate. So you're sitting there getting a gut feeling about a scenario that you're in, a particular person you're doing business with, or you're romantically interested in. That's for you to actually examine that gut feeling, or acknowledge it, or follow its direction. If you go against all that grain, that is not the African country that you're residing in. That is not them lashing out at you and attacking you. That is you negating reality and logic. And for that, you should take advantage. You should take accountability of that. It's just like any woman that gets with, like, let's say when I worked at the bank, okay, years ago, there was one of my colleagues at the bank who was dating this man who had, I think at the time, he had about 6 kids by several different women. Okay. And he was doing a poor job at taking care of those kids. Eventually, this woman became his next baby's mom. And she was completely shattered and heartbroken when this man, seemed disinterested in her own child. Well, the fact was that you could see his parenting style, his level of responsibility. You could see all of it when you were dating him. And word to the wise, ladies, listen, if you meet a man and he's irresponsible with his children and he's irresponsible in general, he's not responsible with money, he's not stable, all those things are red flags. If you decide, I just got to have him no matter what, I'm going to give him a chance, I'm going to try to see if we can turn things around, that is your choice, and nobody else is liable for that. That is your choice. Now, in some cases, people go above and beyond to deceive you, and you don't maybe you actually don't know what you're getting into. That's a different situation. But when you go head first into a situation that is chaotic and it looks like, failure is on the horizon, you just need to own it. Don't blame Ghana. Okay? Don't blame Ghana when you're dating a man who's 20, 25 years younger than you. Okay? Who all he does is talk about moving to America. Who tells you he doesn't date Ghanaian women or Nigerian women? Who confesses his dreams of, moving abroad and doing this and doing that. All of this, at this stage, you should be extremely cautious when you're going into these relationships. All right, big shout outs, guys. I'm about to start the shout outs in the chat room. Once again, guys, if you're interested in meeting me in Ghana in October, please head over to tayeahuru.com. Our booking and full itinerary is right on the homepage. You can make your deposit for the tour. And you can, reach us through those means. Okay, so head over there if you're interested in our tour. Big shout outs to Portia Official. She's the first in the building. Nikki is with us. I see you, family. Big shout outs to everybody who's here. Please make sure you like the stream and you can do like Black Messiah and support our content. The platform is back remonetized. Hallelujah. After 6 months of no monetized. Yes. Big shout outs to you guys. All right. Quessy is with us. Yes. First trivia question was, can you buy land in America, UK, Canada, or England for $5,000? The answer is no. Okay. The second part of that question is, can you do it in Africa? And Passport Traveler answered, it's possible. Okay. I currently I'm selling land. You can get a whole plot for less than $3,000 currently. Okay. And from there, you are a landowner. Okay. You own land in Africa. Okay. And I can tell you, for instance, the land that we are dealing in, the price of that land has gone up consistently the past 2 years. So what does that say? That says that the value of that land is going to get higher. That's how you can make a profit. That's how a lot of people make profits in real estate and land, because they buy it low, and they sell it when it's high. So if you're interested in land in Ghana, for instance, you can deal through me and Sister Ya, trusted individuals. We have land in Shy Hills is the community that we're working with. You can hit me up on my email, africansuperstar@gmail.com, if you're interested in land. So my email is scrolling across the bottom here. Okay, big shout outs to you guys. Passport Traveler says, I'm leaving after 3 years for many reasons, mostly the corruption, and no one cares about rules and laws. Well, the thing about freedom, which it's a double-edged sword, actually, is you have freedom. You have freedom to do things in the way that you want to do them sometimes. However, that does also mean that creates a liberty on the other end. So when you're maybe looking for recourse, or you're expecting some kind of, parameters around things, that's what freedom is. A lack of freedom has a lot of parameters, So I would say that in Africa, you really need to have some type of personal direction in your life. You need to be able to motivate yourself, and you need to be able to govern yourself, because you can't really depend upon the system in the same way that you could in the West. I actually love the freedom. I love all of that space and opportunity to do things and customize my life. But I'm able to actually really govern my life, so I don't need a lot of input around me. And let's talk about corruption. Let's talk about corruption. The reality is, and for many diasporans, they focus a lot on corruption in Africa, and the reason is because they don't see the corruption in America. They're not in the circles in which they see these bribes being given. They see these tax breaks being given. They see the favoritism, the nepotism that goes on. But corruption actually is a natural part of life. In America, they call it lobbying. I mean, I'm sure if you're in America, you've seen during election time, these candidates go and they do all these fundraising banquets, and they do all these speaking engagements and all that. They're actually getting donations from people during that time for their campaign, and it's you scratch my back, I scratch your back. Corruption, you do for me, I do for you. It's a global concept. We do highlight about it and talk about it a lot in Africa, but it's nothing unique to Africa. They like to highlight it because they want to detract the focus away from them. I mean, after all, look at what is currently going on with Donald Trump. He's embroiled in all type of scandals and court issues and all of this stuff. Is that not a version of corruption? Because actually, I think they said this is the first and only American president that's ever been indicted or brought up on these type of charges. But because he's a white man, we don't really focus upon it. So, I do apologize that your experience has been what it has been. And I hope that you find solace, back in the West. But, the reality is that these things that go on in Africa are not unique to Africa. And that's just the truth. Big shout outs to the African superstar family. Hey, Diaspora Connect says, how are we able to travel if we are broke? That's what the man in the comments said, Diaspora. They said a lot of Black Americans coming to Africa don't have money, don't have skills, are very ignorant, and et cetera, et cetera. And my fact is, to be honest, I don't think that a lot of Black Americans or diasporans are coming to the contact with large sums of money. They may be able to come. Now, you have the retirees. They probably may have a lot more capital because they are in retirement age. But the working class diasporan, they're probably coming maybe with a few thousand. I've seen a lot of videos. I moved to Ghana with 10,000. I moved to Ghana with, moved to Senegal with 2,000. People are usually operating. I would say probably maybe 100,000 or less. Now you have the entrepreneurs that they may have a lot more capital at their exposure, but the average diasporan, even from my own context, the people that I personally know living in Ghana, they're not rich people. They're working class folks, and either they had, investments, or they're trying to reestablish themselves in Africa and all of that. You can afford a plane ticket, definitely. You know what I mean? Especially if you plan it early. You can get a ticket to Africa for like $2,000 or something, But I think this person was indicating they're not coming with the massive capital that maybe the Chinese have or the Lebanese have to start these really big businesses, these chain businesses. You come to Ghana, the Lebanese are kind of over the whole grocery store market. They have several, like, for instance, the Melcom is a popular shop in Ghana. They have locations all across the country, several, but they were actually invited by the Ghanaian government to come and develop in that industry. So, of course, the average diasporan, can they come there and set up a chain of grocery stores? Probably not. I haven't actually seen huge businesses get started by diasporas currently. They're usually trying to build themselves up. But the fact that you don't have millions of dollars at your disposal, it doesn't need to be a deterrent, because you can actually get your foot in the door with a minimum. If you're coming, let's say if you are coming with an investment of at least $10,000, you can get in there and start something. If nothing else, you can buy a land. You might be able to, get some cars for Bolt and Uber, get into transport. You might be able to do some importing. There are some things that you could actually get into with that capital. Now, here in America, 10K ain't going to get you started with nothing. 10K might not even be a down payment on a house or whatever. So that's what I'm saying with this conversation, is that if you're broke, if you don't have a lot of resources, then, your prospects in Africa are better than they are in the West in terms of investment, in terms of changing your class and escalating. Big shout outs. What's up? Nikki says debt keeps you bound. Absolutely. And debt is carefully interweaved with the American dream. They make sure that they make everybody have this like desire for the American dream. College educated, so you're going to get student loans. All right. And then you're going to get the mortgage because you got to have the house. You want to have the house with the picket fence and the little animals. And, you want to have that, especially a lot of immigrants. When they come to America, they want to live in that American dream. They want to have it. It is an anchor. You know what I mean? If you're not careful, you're going to fool around and be stuck once you have gotten involved in these traps. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Diaspora Connect says, in Tanzania, they let you make payments on lands. Not sure about other countries. It's very possible. And see, that's the thing. I think in Ghana, it's, most everything is about cash. They probably can make some provisions for you, but you're going to need to settle the balance, I'd say, between, maybe a year or two at most. There's no, extended periods of payments that, oh, I'm going to be paying on this for 5 years, or I'm going to pay on this for 10 years. No, you might have like 2-3 installments to settle the balance, because they are all about cash in Ghana. But this is even better, because let's say if you don't even have that 5K, but okay, by next summer I can get that 5K, then you can get lands and start making your payments. But again, you can't own land in America, Canada, Australia, UK for $5,000, for instance. You can't. The advantage is that your Western money, the currency exchange, and that's not just in Africa. The currency exchange is, in some places in Asia, I hear from Thailand and Korea and Vietnam, stuff like that. I mean, you're going to get a really, really good currency exchange. In the Philippines, so maybe you go there. I don't know much about Latin America, but I think it's similar. The reality is that even if you have minimal means, there are places in the world where you can have a better quality of life chance than remaining in the West. Here in America, it's a capitalist world. It's all about the people that have money. And it's very, very difficult to break into different classes here, because they got it all locked up. They only want, they want a group of small players in there. They don't want everybody to have access to that, So abroad, have those options. You do have to create a business in order to purchase lands in Tanzania, but it's still attainable. Thank you so much for that information. Talking about the life expectancy rate, I did mention earlier in this broadcast that in America, the current retirement age for the new generation is 70 years. And that the reality is that a lot of people will never, ever retire, either because they're going to die before they hit the age, or because they can't afford it. And if you are being realistic about looking at your life and thinking, I just want something different, then you should set your eyes on other options. You should teach yourself, learn about them, and try to be wise. Because obviously, if you have a little bit of means, you don't want to waste it. You don't want to get scammed out of it, or you don't want to miss out, or whatever. So you need to do your due diligence and make sure that you get good deals and things like that. But it's very possible for you to change your class by acquiring assets in Africa, even if you have smaller capital. Farag Khan says, Africa is not perfect like other places, but if you have the right mind, it is attainable and peaceful for Black people. I agree. I agree. Goddess says, self-hate is real in the melanated community. And Goddess also points out, they will ask everyone for money, regardless of where you're from. Even Africans are asked for money, just if they think you have money or look rich. You just have to say, no, you don't have. It's not by force to give. And I talked about this. I talk about it a lot. I know that Westerners, especially Black Americans, are very extremely emotional. Whatever happens to them, it's like a personal attack. And so what some of them are encountering in Africa, they have internalized it. Oh my God, they call me a foreigner. Oh, they're trying to use me for papers. Oh, they're trying to charge me extra for this and that. Like Goddess has pointed out, they're going to try that with any Westerner. Trust me. It's not you that they have honed out. And it's a simple fact that in their case, we go in a bucket. Okay, so let's say there's a young woman who wants to go to America, okay? And she wants to do it via marriage. She knows she needs to get an American man to marry. I even, in the UK, I even know a few Jamaicans who have married same-sex marriages. They're not homosexual, but they did it for the sake of the papers. Okay, so people are in some cases very determined to get their goals achieved. They're going to do it regardless. Now, that particular woman feels that this man has honed her out and this and that. No, in reality, he was looking for any British. He was looking for any German. He was looking for any American. Okay. Now they will target you in this respect. They know if you're older and you're single or you don't have kids or you've never been married. A lot of women are very sensitive about those topics, and a lot of women are very vulnerable about that. If you're a woman who's maybe overweight or unattractive, you know, they know that these type of women are going to be an easier mark than a woman who is maybe abreast of it, or she takes care of herself, or she's someone who's not desperate, you know, maybe has kids or been married or whatever. They know, oh, that one's going to be, you know, that one's going to be a bit more challenging to do. At the end of the day, you can always say yes or no in a situation. And again, I keep telling you guys, if the red flags are there and they're waving, pay attention. You are going to lose more than the other individual in the situation when you see and recognize the red flags and you choose not to acknowledge them. You say, you know what, I don't care. Okay, the cost is going to be big. And like I said, once the cost is big, you don't blame everybody. Blame yourself. Blame yourself. You know, because a lot of times these people are walking red flags. It's so completely and obvious that they are after something. Big shout outs. What's up? Portia is reminding you to hit the like button. Stop whatever you're doing and hit the like button if you like this content. We have 30 of you currently in the chat room. I am doing shout outs now. Portia says, many travel and move with unrealistic expectations of the continent. That's very true too. And a lot of that comes from ignorance about where they're going. You know, I mean, I know for a fact I'm not the only YouTuber who has consistently promoted you to visit the continent before, for instance, you pick up and move, who has discouraged you from these online relationships where you are getting engaged or married to people that you've never met before, doing land deals, business deals with people that you've never met, you can't verify are not legit. You know, I would say definitely if you want to do land through me, I'm more than happy if you want to come visit Ghana to take you to the land so that you see, you know. And I have actually, some people from the channel have purchased lands through me. They have had no issues. See, that's a thing that you can actually stand on when you deal with, for instance, the African superstar. I've been on YouTube now since 2013. And I don't have any scam videos. I don't have any diss videos because I'm too legit to quit. Okay. People don't have negative things to say about me in that respect. They might not like me because I'm confident. True. I know. But they can't say she took my money, she didn't deliver, she lied, I bought stuff from her website, she never got it to me, I purchased a tour from her, it was this, that. No. Whatever I come out, whatever product you purchase from me or service you purchase from me, you get it. You know, and so I have always promoted those of you interested in the continent. Start with the freaking step ABC. Start with the basics. Come visit the country. Don't you think it's crazy to pick up and move to a country you've never seen? Don't you think it's crazy? And just because, yes, you know, we are from the derivatives of Africa. You know, if you're an African American born and raised in America and you don't really know much about your connection to the continent, you know, yes, we do share the melanin and we share the heritage, but realistically, it's a different country, different culture. You need to educate yourself about it if you want to have success. But then again, I know people don't listen to me. They pick up and come there. They get culture shock. They get disappointed. They get lonely. They feel like, you know, I don't know people. I don't like this food. I don't know the music. I don't understand the language. And they get, you know, they get disgruntled. Well, those are things that you would have identified, for instance, if you traveled there first. And I stand beside that. If you would have come to Ghana first before you moved, or come to Nigeria before you moved for that internet romance, whatever, then you would have seen some of these things. So by the time you came and moved, it wouldn't be a shock to you. Either you would embrace it or you would just feel more comforted by those things. Everybody has culture shock when they visit new countries. It's well documented. Okay. And I don't know why people from the diaspora feel like they are above, doing the due diligence, the very basics to make themselves successful in their endeavors on the continent. And like I said, if you have put yourself in a particular situation, you need to be accountable. It's no need for you to go and slander the whole continent because you failed in this and that and the other. What role did you play? What role did you play? Is it Ghana's fault that you came with $2 and got shocked when you saw the rents in Accra? Is it Ghana's fault that you decided to get married to someone that you met on Facebook Messenger? Is it Ghana's fault that you bought land from your favorite YouTuber that you never met and that the person is a scammer and there's been lots of videos saying they've been scammed and all of this? Is it Ghana's fault? No, it's not Ghana's fault. It's not Ghana's fault. You may have not done the necessary steps before to prevent it. Why exactly is it that, for instance, your African superstar has been living in Ghana and these things have not happened to me? Why? Is it Ghana's fault? It's not Ghana's fault. I take a lot of responsibility as in what happens in my life. You know what I mean? And I'm careful and I try to do the research and I scrutinize things and I avoid things that look questionable. You do have to understand I am a foreigner in this country. So I got to have my own back. I don't know these people. I don't know everything about this place. I don't understand the language. You can't just be in there frolicking like a carefree teenager. It's unwise. What's up, Nikki? Thank you for being there today, baby. Big shout out to the African Superstar family. We have over 40 of you here. Big shout outs to you guys and welcome to my channel if you have just subscribed. The one and only African Superstar. Some of you guys were asking about me being in the US. I'm on holidays. Okay, I've already stated that. I came to visit my family and I will be going back to Ghana because I live in Ghana. Okay, traveling, I'm a world traveler. Been to over 20 countries, lived in 3. Okay, I travel frequently. Just because I come to America, it doesn't mean woe is me in Ghana. Just because I go to the UK doesn't mean I'm in hardship. No, it's called summer holidays. I know you guys don't know about that because you're living in the West and you only get 2 weeks of vacation and that's how it is. Unfortunately, my lifestyle, I'm able to come and go for a couple months, stay here, go there, whatever. Thank God. So yes, I'm currently in Ohio. Last week I was in Miami. It was wonderful. It was amazing. Yes, I'm on my summer holidays and I will be returning to Ghana. So don't worry. Okay? Don't worry. Don't worry. And to my haters, I know you wish I was stuck. And I know you wish you had a sob story. Oh, Gina, she had to come back to the US because, sorry, it's not the case. Okay? It's not the case. So big shout out to the African Superstar family. I hope to see some of you guys in Ghana in October. Again, we have my upcoming tour October 21st through the 27th. Mr. Taye Uhuru and we are doing our second Welcome to Ghana tour. And we actually had a really lovely time back in March. We did one in March and it was wonderful. We had a GK come visit us. So we're looking forward to welcoming anybody else who's interested. The website is right here. Okay. And all the details about the tour. All right. So big shout out to the African Superstar family. Until we meet again, stay black and true. If you ain't black, just stay true.